Youth Runner Magazine here with JT Thompson of Reed up in Reno, 21:08 for second place in that exciting 200-meter dash invitational. Third place earlier in the seated 100 and 10:48. Great day at the Oval Office, right?
Yeah.
Give yourself the credit.
Yeah.
Coming 8 hours away, probably like 10 hours away, right?
Yeah, 8 hours.
Obviously,
Trips, yeah.
yeah, the opportunity to race here against some of the best in the nation. How exciting was that for you, and how'd you kind of like keep yourself level-headed to say, hey, like Brandon Arrington, you know, all the poly certified kids are here, but I got to do my job.
Of course, like I see the list. I see Arrington on there. I see Long Beach on there. All these great high schools over here, and I know like this list is vast, right? But I can be here. I can compete at these big meets. You know, I didn't pull out the win today, but I know like I was competitive here. You know, I belong here, and you know, one hell of a senior year for me going so far, and I know I have more coming up for the rest of this year.
Yeah, and like you have to be ready for the tough competition, right? Any state meet's going to be competitive. How today? What are some of the lessons you kind of learned to be like, hey, I got to go back, lock in even more, hit those times that you may be aiming for?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, I walked away from the 100 a little bit disappointed, but I know like I'm not gonna let a bad 100 ruin my entire track meet. You know, I have a lot of things I gotta do when I get home to improve my 100. You know, my 100 hasn't gone the way hasn't gone the way I wanted it to go, but there's stuff and lessons that I learned from this track meet. And then with my 200, it went exactly how I planned on, right? I knew like it wasn't my race to win. I knew it was Arrington's race, but just stay strong, stay loose, right? Know where I'm supposed to be during that race, and I know that I was going to pull out second and come out with a great PR school record for both events.
Yeah. So again, PR school record both events. Give yourself the credit in that 100, man. It's sub 10.5 is no joke.
Yeah.
What's working for you at practice to be able to come in here and execute, right? Like it's tough to execute at higher pressure meets. How do those reps at practice kind of lead you to this, to be able to like close your mind and say, just run your race?
I give a lot of my credit to my coaches. You know, during season, I got my coach Alan and I got my dad. You know, off season, I still got my dad, but I also got my other trainer Dell. You know, these people train me. They've been at these elite meets like this, and they know like Reno doesn't have the competition for you to be competing at these vast meets like this, like Arcadia and Chandler Rotary, and we're gonna go to Sacramento Champs later. But these coaches and these trainers really push me to know what it's like to run at elite meets before I even show up to the meet.
And talk to me about that 4x2. How much fun was that? Like to come out here, run that. Like it's a fun relay that's not, and it's hectic. It's a chaotic relay, man. Yeah. Handoffs can get crazy. But how was that like to not just be like individual events here, but be able to run with your teammates?
So the 4x2, like on the bus ride, we knew like we're not gonna pull this one out. Like, but we have experience in the 4x2. Nevada runs the 4x2 religiously, and I knew during that 4x2 I had to come out. I was the first leg out there. I knew I was gonna run a good leg, but like my trainers, my coaches in college and in high school texted me like, you ran your 4x2 like that, you're running. I mean, if you run your 200 like you ran your 4x2, you're gonna walk away with something really good.
Yeah.
And after my 200 just now, because of that 4x2 and those lessons I learned from the 4x2, I just walked away with a school record.
Yeah, 100%. And like you got your boys today. I know like last place isn't, you know, ideal, but it's at Arcadia Invitational. It's a fun one to run. Again, congratulations, a fun day for you, and a pretty historic day for your school. And we know that some of those records are going to keep on falling. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.